A very good morning to you all. In the unit 3 of the course Biotechnology, we have a concept for learning which is much relevant from technology point of view. And the concept is about the fermentation process and design. Before discussing about the fermentation process and design, in the previous class, if you can recollect that we were discussing about the demand for bio-based agricultural products and growing adoption of biotechnology practices in clinical research. We were also discussing that the biotechnology deploys biomolecular and cellular processes for developing the products and technologies to improve the quality of human life. Taking our discussion further, from this session onwards, we will discuss in detail about the fermentation processes, then converting the low cost renewable feedstocks into value added bioproducts. All this can happen with the help of microorganisms or mammalian cells in bioreactors or fermenters. So we will be essentially trying to understand the processes of fermentation, that is the principle of fermentation, then converting the low cost renewable feedstocks into valuable bioproducts with the help of microorganisms or mammalian cells in bioreactors or fermenters. Right. In the field of chemical engineering, the game-changing concept in recent years is about the innovative processing equipment design. Second thing, innovative techniques. And the third one is innovative approaches or methodologies. So equipment design, the technique, the methodology, all these things have the innovations embedded with them. And because of these innovations in the equipment design, in the technique and the methodology, there is a transformation of chemical plants into much more sustainable processing plants or concepts. And these are compact, safe, environment friendly and energy efficient. So the innovation in the field of chemical engineering, in equipment design, in the technology and the methods or the methodology has transformed the traditional conventional chemical plants into much more sustainable processing plants or concepts that are compact in nature, safe to the user, safe to the environment, that is environment friendly and energy efficient. Right. So focus has mostly been on improvements such as reduction in equipment size. If you look back the history of the fermentation, the vessels they were using were very huge, and now the improvement in reduction of the equipment size has raised to a factor of 100 or even more. That means the reduction is by 100 folds or even more than 100 folds. And combining at least 4 or 5 unit operations into one single operation. That is integration of the technology. So the plant size becomes compact and it becomes safer, and it also offers environmental friendly and energy efficient factors. So the improvement in reduction of the equipment size by a factor of 100 and combining at least 5 unit operations into one single unit operations is a significant innovation in the field of chemical engineering. Whenever we speak about the fermentation process, there are set basic principles. Among the principles, 4 principles are dominant. Dominant in the sense they have to be taken into consideration. Number 1, the time, the space, the thermodynamics, and the synergy. One is the time, second one is the space, third one is the thermodynamics, and fourth one is the synergy. Now what is about the principles of time? There should be improvements in kinetics of the reaction. That is, you maximize the speed of the reaction and effectiveness of the reaction. So within shortest possible time, you get the desired product. Second one is space. Homogeneity. It speaks about homogeneity. Maximize the homogeneity. We have to create an identical condition for each molecule during the process of fermentation. Because if homogeneity is not maintained, the heterogeneity affects the bioprocess robustness. It is a big challenge. The heterogeneity is a big challenge when we speak about the scale up of the fermentation process. So maximizing the homogeneity, that is giving an identical condition for each molecule, is an important principle. And then about thermodynamics. Maximize the thermodynamic driving forces. That is the potential difference between the product and the reactant. So this thermodynamic driving force is the force which leads the process in the desired direction, nearing to the equilibrium. So we should consider maximizing the thermodynamic forces. So it overcomes the opposing forces, that is reversible forces. And maximizing the transfer area. So for example, in aerobic fermenter, the microbes are grown by bubbling the oxygen into the liquid, and we need to create the right condition for these organisms to grow. So maximizing the transfer area, transfer of an ingredient or a factor such as oxygen for maximum growth of the organisms. So transfer area should be maximized. Thermodynamic driving forces should be maximized so that the potential difference between the reactant and the substrate proceeds to the equilibrium in the direction required. And number 4 is about the synergy. That is integration, smart integration between the separate parts of the fermentation process, be it fermentation, the extraction, the refining. So all these different steps should be integrated in a smart way so that the recovery of product does not or is not affected by the process of fermentation or the extraction step or the refining step. So these are the 4 important principles which has to be considered in the fermentation process and design. The time, the space, the thermodynamics and the synergy. So same thing is given in this illustration in a detailed way. The principles are time, space, thermodynamics and synergy, and the approaches, say for example in time, maximizing the process rate or the reaction rate. In space, minimizing the impact of the concentration and shear gradients, that means giving more space for each of the molecule. And in thermodynamics, maximizing the transport driving force and the surface area. And in synergy, the smart integration, that is the cell recycle or the retention, in situ product removal, all these steps should be integrated in a smart way. So whenever we discuss about the fermentation process, you need to always remember about these 4 principles applied in a multi-scale framework, that is the time, the space, the thermodynamics and the synergy. Right. Now, fermentation process, they are commonly defined as the operations in which the bacteria, yeasts and fungi are employed. And there are similar processes in which other types of cells are also used, such as mammalian cells for the production of biopharmaceuticals, such as monoclonal antibodies, immunoglobulins, etc. So fermentation process employs bacteria, yeast and fungi, and similar to the fermentation process, the usage of mammalian cells for the production of biopharmaceuticals are also in the part of discussion in this particular unit. Right. Now there are another category of organisms, the phototrophic organisms. The microalgae, the cyanobacteria, they represent another fermentation category. These organisms convert carbon dioxide with the help of light into valuable products. We will not discuss about these phototrophic organisms in detail. We will be discussing about the mammalian cells for the production of biopharmaceuticals and the bacteria, yeast and fungi for the production of value-added products. Traditionally, the fermentation process has utilized the basic property of microorganisms that is converting the renewable feedstocks into naturally occurring products, be it ethanol, organic acids, amino acids, and the antibiotics. In the organic acids, we have studied at our graduation level 2. Most of you might have studied at your graduation. Production about citric acid, lactic acid, succinic acid, itaconic acid, etc. And under amino acids, you might have studied about production of lysine, glutamic acid, and threonine. And under antibiotics, about production about the penicillins, cephalosporins, polyketides, etc. So the traditional approach of fermentation has utilized the general property of microorganisms to convert the renewable feedstocks into naturally occurring products. Right. In due course, with the development of the technology and with the advent of recombinant DNA technique, the range of product development and the process performance have been tremendously increased. Right. So now it is not about amino acids or organo acids only. It includes non-natural compounds such as tailored antibiotics, therapeutic drugs, and monomers for plastics. So, as the recombinant DNA technique was advented, the range of products and the process performance have tremendously increased from amino acids to non-natural compounds such as tailored antibiotics, therapeutic drugs, and monomers for plastics. Right. So the application of engineering tools has helped to scale up to commercial levels. In terms of intensive gas, liquid or solid contacting, optimal control of the environment for a particular microorganism such as temperature, pH, controlled supply of growth limiting substrates, high nutrient concentrations, low inhibitory compounds, adequate design of the process system, both in operations and utilities. So all these factors have contributed significantly to raise the lab scale process into commercial scale process. Lot of research has been put in to reach the state where we are today. Right. Originally, the term fermentation, so this was used to describe the anaerobic processes which converts the starch grains into alcohol. So that is the reason why ancient civilizations thousands of years ago, they describe it as the origin of the field biotechnology. But the modern fermentation biotechnology is enabled by two distinct features. Originally, it was about describing the process of fermentation as anaerobic process which converts starch grains into alcohol. And in modern fermentation biotechnology, which has been enabled by two distinct features. Now, what are those two distinct features? One is the technology, the other one is the product. If you just look at this illustration, there are three columns. Column number 1 depicts the period of growth of the fermentation process. Number 2 is about the technology that has been developed, modified, and the products which we are capable to harvest using the technology. So starting from 1670, where the technology was empirical fermentation, the products which we could harvest is the ethyl alcohol, acetic acid, and so on. And then moving to 1918, the technology was about deep vat fermentation, wherein the medium is continuously withdrawn. So it's about continuous culture in deep tanks. Then the products were the vitamin C, organic acids, and so on and so forth. And from 1943 onwards, large scale sterile fermentation technology came into force. And the products were the antibiotics, steroids, amino acids, vitamins, and so on. And from 1978 onwards, there is a tremendous change in the technology. It is about the horizontal gene transfer, mammalian cell culture, high cell density culture. And the products which we could harvest is the recombinant protein or the proteins, monoclonal antibodies, and many other different products using the horizontal gene transfer or mammalian cell culture technology. And 2012 onwards, it is about the synthetic biology and bioinformatics. Synthetic biology is about the redesigning of microorganisms for the purpose of obtaining useful products by engineering them, especially in the field of agriculture, medicine, and manufacturing. So you are engineering the microorganisms, that is redesigning the microorganisms to produce useful products. So now we are capable enough to harvest the products such as the personalized medicine concepts, GM, genetically modified organisms, GM plants. If you just look at the change in the technology and the product which we are capable enough to harvest today, starting from 1670 to 2012 onwards, from empirical fermentation to synthetic biology, from ethyl alcohol production to artificial photosynthesis or personalized medicine. It is possible only when there is innovation. Right? So if you look at the world markets for fermentation ingredients, the global market for fermentation derived fine chemicals is expected to grow from $26 billion to $32 billion by 2024. So with a CAGR of 4%, it is expected to grow from 26 billion US dollars to 32 billion US dollars. Now, what is the status of the India? Starting from the financial year 2011, if you just look at the trend up to financial year 2019, the proposed investment value, which is in billion Indian rupees, in financial year it was 66 billion Indian rupees, and now if you just move on to 2019, it has come down to only 9 billion Indian rupees. So there is a decreasing trend with a few exceptions within this fermentation industry sector. Why is this so? One simple reason is the competition by the developed countries. Of course, the fermentation industry means it includes the pharmaceuticals, food, manufacturing sector, the plastics, and so on and so forth. Most importantly, the chemicals. But in total, the fermentation industry sector in India is showing a decline in investment pattern. So we will try to understand about these concepts in the next session. So thank you very much for being with me for today's session. We will continue with much more details in the next session. Thank you very much.